Hey, let's discuss some Locked On Spurs fan comments. My thoughts on the Wemby DPOY snub. Speaking of snub, we're going to be talking about that. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Happy hump day, everybody. Halfway there. The weekend's around the corner. Hang on tight. We'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every single day. Yeah, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, the list goes on and on. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get themselves $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. You want to go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Hey, what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to be discussing you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, some of your comments. Just my quick reaction to Wemby not getting the DPOY. And speaking of that, we're going to continue that. Coming up next, we got Rudy Campos who sweeps the league. He's going to be joining me, getting more detail about Wemby. Was it a massive snub for Wemby not getting the DPOY? We'll be discussing that. But quickly, some of your thoughts. You guys are leaving a lot of comments. And it looks like y'all really, really liked our last guest, Elias Rivera. Looks like I get a lot of comments about him. First one was from Asura. He says, Elias spitting facts. All the people wanting to rush the process seem to know the Spurs, or be new to the Spurs, I should say, or following the media trap that Wemby will leave. Rome wasn't built in a day. Let's develop a team. Well, that looks like the plan for the Spurs. They've been saying they're not going to skip steps. It's a slow grind. It's going to be a very careful rebuild. So, yeah, I mean, whether your team skips steps or team don't skip steps, either way, Spurs are going to make the final decision. Not you, not me, not our guest. So they're going to go at their own pace. So why even bother? So just got to let it ride and see what they do. But it's a good comment there. And I do agree. I think the Spurs will be taking a slow approach to this. They're going to rush it and maybe cause more harm than good in the long term. You want Wemby to be in a stable franchise, stable roster. Part of that is being careful with the pieces you put around him. And we'll see what that. Hey, look, the lotteries this weekend. Offseason just begun for the Spurs. We know all the assets that they're sitting on from the picks. So they'll be able to do something, whether it be this offseason, next offseason, the future. But good comment, Asura. We really appreciate it. Our next comment is from Luis Goff Jr. He says, what? No way. He actually won? Laugh emoji. Yes, the Wemby way, a Wemby way. Yeah, he's being sarcastic there, but he is very happy that Victor Wembanyama won the Rookie of the Year award a few days ago. Everybody in San Antonio is still celebrating the Spurs obviously put out their best foot forward. He had videos from Tops, him being surrounded, video-wise at least, with past Rookie of the Year winners, including David Robinson and Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, all thanking him, or congratulating him, I should say, welcoming him to the Rookie of the Year club. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Even our sponsor here, Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee, had a special deal for drinks regarding Wemby's win. So, yeah, everybody's really, really, really happy that Wemby got it. And, yes, Luis Goff. What? No way. Yes, everybody should not have been shocked that Wemby got the Rookie of the Year. So, congratulations to him again. But that kind of leads into our next little comment here before bringing on Rudy, is the DPOY. Now, Rudy and I are going to talk about it more in just a few minutes, but Victor did not get it, and I think we all knew that was going to happen. Kind of saw that coming a mile away, not too shocking. But one thing that I found that was shocking were the votes. Heading into the contest, Vegas had Gobert winning it, by a long shot. I mean, it was a long mile. But, man, I did not expect the voting to go the way it did. So the final voting tally went like this. First place votes, Gobert 72, Victor 19. Was not expecting that at all. I thought it would be way closer than that. The second place votes broke down was Gobert 24, Victor 44. But the grand total points, 433 points for Rudy Gobert, 245 for Victor. Again, I really thought it was going to be a lot closer than that. I thought, it'll come down, if we're going to percentage wise, like maybe, 60% Gobert, 40% Wemby. But man, that really caught my eye right away when I saw that voting spread. And you got to wonder why. Well, I really think it was the record. I think the record impacted the Spurs. Don't believe me? Look what the NBA had to say. So once the NBA made it official that Wemby didn't miss out and Gobert got it, they sent the press release as they normally do. And they had a lot of facts about Gobert. Now, according to the NBA, Gobert ranked 6th in the NBA in blocks per game, 2.3. Wemby led that category, but Gobert was 4th in defensive rebounds per game, 9.2. Opponents shot 43.4% from the field when Gobert was the closest defender, 6.1% lower than their expected, I should say, percentage on those shots, 49.5. The difference was the largest among the 105 players who defended at least 800 shots during the season. Now, here's the thing. Okay, fine. Stats aside, we know he has the stats, but this is where it gets interesting. According to the NBA, led by Gobert, the Timberwolves had the best defensive rating, allowing the fewest points per game and held opponents to the lowest field goal percentage in the NBA. The top-ranked defense helped Minnesota to 56-26. So I think right at that point, it was the impact on the team. And I think that's where Wemby came up short, is the team defensively was just not good. I just read you what the NBA had to say. So, yeah, it looks like that Spurs record and just really, hit him, and he came up short. So, look, there's going to be more coming. He's going to get a Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to make all defensive teams. He's going to lead the league in blocks and rebounds maybe one day. The point is, these are coming, and nobody should be surprised. We saw this coming, him coming up short in the DPOY, but man, 19 votes, first place vote. That's it. I thought it'd be a lot closer, but ultimately it looks like the record did impact Wemby. But there you have it. A couple of your comments, and then my thoughts on the DPOI. I really think that Wemby should have gotten it. I was hoping that a surprise was going to happen yesterday, that they were going to, everybody's going to be shocked the world. Victor announced DPOI. It didn't happen. My whole thing for me, why Victor clinched it, in my opinion, was the record, the Spurs defensive numbers when he was on and off the court. It was just astronomical, how much impact that he brought to the court for the Spurs. Off, we know how much the Spurs defensive numbers plummeted. To me, that is the Defensive Player of the Year, markings. How much do you impact individually when you're on the court and off the court defensively? To me, that felt like that was the defining factor for me, why Wemby should have gotten it. It kind of makes sense, right? If Wemby on the court equal better stats as an individual, because an individual award. Off the court, Spurs struggled defensively. See the impact there? So yeah, that was my thing there. So I think Wemby should have got it, but you know what? Enough about me. Let's go and bring in our guest. So coming up next, we have I'm gonna say Rudy Gobert. See, I can't get out of my head. We have Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. We're going to be discussing, was this a massive snub for Wemby not getting the DPOI, and much, much more. That's next on Locked On Spurs. Hey, want to make mom smile this Mother's Day? Start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brands that she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. Moms are a gift, so give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets, the best of tech, self-care essentials, so much more delivered right to her door. It's never too late to show your mom your love this Mother's Day with DoorDash. Again, surprise her with flowers. What about some gadgets? All in one place delivered right to her door. What if she has a sweet tooth? DoorDash has you covered. What if she's a beauty connoisseur or an outdoorsy type of woman? Again, DoorDash has you covered. So, yeah, they got it all there. Look, shop with savings that'll make mom proud with a Dash Pass membership. You'll save with a $0 delivery fee, reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fee, apply. Terms apply. Again, get all your Mother's Day's gift in one spot. DoorDash. Get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order. Now with code Locked On NBA. That's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash. Terms apply. Hey, I want to talk about LinkedIn Talent Solutions. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's where you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just another job board. LinkedIn is a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many qualified and quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses find themselves a qualified candidate within 24 hours. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring, so you should too. They even launched a new feature that helps you write out job descriptions, making the process easy, even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're now joined by Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. He is Locked On Spurs' very own Defensive Player of the Year. Right? Is that right, Rudy? We nominate you as the defensive player, but you're not going to win it, though, because we're going to stick to the old rule that young guys from Texas can't win it, right? Right? Because that's
Well, a reason why I don't win it, we can be honest. The reason why I don't win it is I didn't come within the games played for Locked On, which I don't know if anybody other than you are qualified for awards in the Locked On Awards thing. Because you're on the show every day, and we kind of have these appearances. So I don't play enough award. I don't play enough games for it.
Once again, he is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Check out his show, Sweep the League, on YouTube and just wherever you get your favorite podcasts. All right, Rudy. So yesterday, the announcement was made. Shocker. Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, everybody saw it coming. Victor Wembanyama was not named the Defensive Player of the Year, despite the fact the defensive numbers were just staggering. Staggering. I mean, if you're going to go by numbers only, defensive metrics, it was clear. Yet Wemby came up short, according to the voters.
Yeah.
How do I process this? How do Spurs fans process this? In a nutshell, was this a massive snub?
If you look at it overall, it would call it massive snub. Yeah, I would say it's a massive snub if you're within the 210 area code. It's huge snub because you saw him play all year. I believe he led the league in blocks. I mean, he had multiple games where he had, 4+ blocks in a game. So his steals were up. He just made a really big presence on the court for the San Antonio Spurs. But if you look at the national picture, I think, like I've been saying before, the writers go by record. And being that Rudy Gobert probably will end up, and ends up getting the award, it's kind of a record thing, Jeff. And that's something that, I said, outside of the 210, you're probably thinking, no big deal. This was already decided a while back. But inside the 210, it is a massive snub.
Yeah, and look, I guess nobody should be too shocked, because that was the sentiment leading up to the announcement yesterday that Gobert got it. You had some voters publicly come out, debate it amongst themselves on their shows, and some of them revealed their ballots. And even though Wemby statistically, defensively, that is, dominated not just Gobert but the league, they checked off the box for Gobert. Now, some did also vote for Wemby, so there's that. So he did get that recognition. But here's the thing. Despite the fact that he has staggering defensive numbers, I mean, led the league in blocks. You mentioned, the block games he had. He had how many 5x5 games he had, steals and blocks. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think by now everybody knows what he did defensively. They still went away from the obvious pick. Do you think that's just an old mentality that the NBA voters have when it comes to these awards? Well, yeah, no, rookies never won it before. Let's just stick with that. Why do you think? I guess I kind of answered my own question here, Rudy. could Wemby have no one else to blame but his teammates and the record?
That's a very tough question there
Yeah.
because I mean, man, you can't really blame his teammates. I mean, the team is what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great team, and it wasn't honestly, it wasn't a great defensive team either. I don't care what people say, about Jeremy Sohan on the defensive side, or the improvements by Devin Vassell on the defensive side. It was not a great defensive team at all. So
Mhm.
to say, that blaming the teammates, that's kind of to me, that's kind of far fetched because of how they were already defensively. What I think it
Mhm.
really came down to was the simple fact of, did Victor's defense help the Spurs gain any more wins? And that's where
Yeah.
I look at it as, a person looking from the outside in. I look at it as, well, yes and no. His defense made it hard for teams to struggle. And you saw a lot of players that were not willing to take Victor one-on-one. I mean, I think there was one
Mhm.
where Christian Brown from Denver had a fast break, saw Victor, and decided to just dribble it back out to the three-point line. So, yeah, a lot of guys didn't take it to Victor in the paint. They didn't try to challenge him. But again, did that lead to more wins for the Spurs? It didn't. I mean, they finished the year with 22 wins, as where Minnesota was one of the better teams in the NBA defensively. If you take Gobert off of that team, are they worse defensively? Not by a lot. I still think they got
Yeah.
McDaniels. Cat's a pretty good defender. Anthony Edwards is a
Yeah.
pretty good defender. But at the same time, it's record. They were the top 3
Mm.
team in the NBA, top 4 team in the NBA. So
Yeah.
overall, I think that's eventually, I think essentially that was the turning point where the records were. Now, Jeff, the good question is if the Spurs would have gotten to 30, 31 wins, would that made a
Mm.
difference? I
I
think
think
that
it would
makes a
have.
bigger, more that
Yeah.
makes a more bigger difference than
Yeah.
it is if you're sitting at 22 wins and one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Here's the thing for me, because as much as they're going to take the record and penalize Wemby for that, but can't you use that same reasoning and be like, well, with Wembanyama on the court, the Spurs were statistically one of the best defensive teams in the NBA last season. Am I making sense here?
Mhm.
On the court, the numbers show it. I think the Spurs were like a top 5 defensive team, maybe even better.
Mhm.
Off the court, they plummeted. Isn't isn't that the definition of defensive player of the year? You're making your team better when you're on the court, and the
Yeah.
numbers showed it, and the Spurs record showed it. When he was on that court, uh, I think you might have the numbers in front of you. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they were like top 3, top 5
Mhm.
defensive team in the NBA. He steps off the court, right down to the bottom of the barrel. To me, that cinches it. He should win DPOI.
I don't disagree with you. I really don't. I mean, when Victor was in the court, they were a way better defensive team than he was off the
Mhm.
court. And again, the award is basically titled Defensive Player of the
Thank
Year,
you.
not Defensive
Thank you.
Team of the Year. So if we're looking at Defensive Player of the Year, it's a unanimous choice that Wembanyama wins it. I'd love for all these writers that voted for Rudy to give me their reasoning behind it. But at the same time, there it's at the same time, okay, well, if he's on the court so much, then the question is, why did they lose so much if he's both a great defender and a great offensive piece? That's the
Mhm.
question any NBA writer who voted on the defense player of the year can ask any person. Says, okay, well, you're making the case for Victor being defense player of the year. His team is top 3. So why wasn't there any more wins than 22?
Well, that is a good point. Yeah, see, then that hurts them too. Okay, Victor, you're on the court and the Spurs launch into one of the top defensive teams in the league, but that still didn't get the W's.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that still didn't get the wins. Now, look, maybe there's a little bit of that old mentality still, those unwritten rules, a rookie can't win a DPOI. What do you think about that? These unwritten rules, these thought
Mhm.
processes, this old adage, rookies can't win, because if you're going to go strictly by numbers only, black and white, Victor wins this. But yet you still have the
Mhm.
old school guys thinking, and ladies saying, no, rookies can't win.
That's an old, I guess, an old tall tale, if you want to say, of the NBA. I
Yeah.
think that I think there is some some kind of degree behind it. I mean, hell, Tim Duncan didn't win any Defensive Player of the Year's award. We've seen his stats on many seasons. But if you
Yeah.
look at a rookie in the past, I mean, guys like David Robinson were great defensive players in their first year. Sadly, they had a lot of great defenders back in that day. But I really, there's a lot of unwritten rules, but I also turn to the fact of if Victor is the face of the NBA going forward, wouldn't it make sense for the NBA to rightfully give him what is his?
Yep.
And if that is the Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie, well, we've seen a guy win NBA Finals MVP in Jerry West on a losing squad for the Los Angeles Lakers. We've seen co-rookie of the years. So to me, if there's a better time to give a rookie a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year, it is this season. And I think if the NBA, there was a lot of unwritten rules, we would have definitely seen, unanimously Rudy Gobert is going to win it, this and that. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say because he's going to be the face of the league for many, many years to come. I think, I think the unwritten rules kind of get thrown out at this point.
Hey, look, I think Spurs fans maybe in not in a good way, but kind of to lighten the punch. It's not like a Spurs big man has been ignored in the past. Tim Duncan never won Defensive Player of the Year. To this day, that is shocking. He never won it, and yet his defensive numbers were insane. I mean, go look it up, everybody. Go see for yourself. You're going to be saying to yourself, "How did he not win this?" That record, though, Rudy, it's I think that ultimately really just see. But you can't even use that argument too because Timmy was winning titles, 55 on up win seasons, and still never won it. Here's Wemby. The numbers show it. Okay, the record is hurting him, and it likely hurt him. And he's like he probably didn't. He didn't win it. We know that by now. So it feels like a catch-22. Rudy, what are your thoughts?
So I get it, man. Again, you go back to Tim Duncan, and there was seasons he was brilliant, and he should have been Defensive Player of the Year. It's almost like a guarantee he should have been.
Yeah,
but he wasn't. And I think with Victor, this is the question I think we should ask San Antonio Spurs fans. And I think if they put it into the limelight, I think they would be even more upset. And it would probably upset you because I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but asking fans out there as well as yourself, I mean, what's the bigger snub for you? What would make you upset even more? Is it not winning Defensive Player of the Year or not getting an all NBA defensive first team? Which I think NBA first team snub, that's when you riot because there's no reason why he should not make NBA first team. The
that's
defense
a good point. When we get back,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, say the defensive player, the Defensive Player of the Year part. Yeah, it's a snub. If it's a big time snub, but the All NBA defensive team first team, that is a bigger snub in my opinion.
All right. Well, we'll leave you with that. When we get back, we're going to continue our chat about Wemby losing out on the DPOY. Is there any, good things to happen despite the fact he didn't win it? Really hinted at one thing right now. We're talking about that and more. And what did Vegas have to say? What were the last stats that or the odds, I should say, did Vegas have leading up to the DPOY announcement? That's next on Locked On Spurs. All right, game off. We got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in the game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments. So you work together to build each other's boards. There's more to win if you win together. There are awesome prizes you can unlock. So much to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums and big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Monopoly Go has it all. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. There's always new timed events to help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench right now. Go download it for free on Google Play or the App Store and game on. Hey, I want to talk about Muslinger's drive-through coffee. You want to go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281 to 1604 area. If you need a latte, they got it. You need a cold brew, they got that. You need just a signature drink like a coffee, the Muslinger, they have that too. They even have mini donuts. Their menu is so extensive, we could be here for days. Seriously, I mean, you look at that menu, you're like, where do I even begin? Hey, you know what? They're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs, and they're a proud community member of San Antonio, serving San Antonio the best coffee drinks in around the city. So you want to go there right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Hey, by the way, if you like their Lightning Bolt series, well, good news. They changed it up. Now, just before I continue, they'll still make you a Red Bull if you want that, but the default is going to be Lotus Energy. It's 7 power pack plant extracts that is pretty much similar to caffeine, but allows mudslingers yourself more flexibility to create new drinks. So again, the default will be Lotus Energy, but if you want Red Bull, they'll have that ready for you. And the Lightning Bolt series, they have a drink in there called the Alien. I think you can figure out who that is all about, right? Victor Wembanyama. So go get it right now. Get the drink that you want. Help support a local shop here, local coffee shop, and go to Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now. Follow them on social media at Muslinger SATX. Go there right now, San Antonio, because life is too short for bland coffee. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Let him know that he is your defensive player of the year. By the way, when you play pickup ball, you know, whether it be at division, at the Heather Park, or wherever you played, how good are you as a defender? Were you a defensive stopper?
Actually, I credit myself with being one of the better defenders. I love to play defense. My two biggest things was defense and in the post. I love to play in the post.
I would have loved you for sure.
Yeah, I was only a very monumental 5'8", so but playing in being in the post is not for my height, but I actually liked it. I learned a lot, watching the big guys play, so it helped.
Well, you're our defensive player of the year. That helps as well here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, we're talking about Victor Wembanyama not getting named the defensive player of the year. That honor went to Rudy Gobert. Rudy has some interesting facts about the DPOY and the Spurs. We're going to touch on that in just a few seconds. But leading up to the award announcement, they say Vegas knows all, Rudy, and man, it was staggering. I'm going to read you some of the stats, okay, some of the odds, okay, and I'm going to ask you at the end, are you shocked or not? So, DraftKings had Rudy Gobert, again, leading up to the announcement, a minus 2,400 and Wemby at a plus 1,000. That's a big difference.
Major difference.
So we go to, we go to, who's this one? We go to another one. Here's another odds maker. Rudy Gobert, minus 3,000. Victor Wembanyama, a plus 1,000. Again, big difference again. Vegas, they say Vegas knows all, and they called it once again. Are you surprised that the separation was so staggering despite the numbers?
Yeah, I'm surprised because I think it's a lot closer voting than it actually is being said. But again, Vegas knows, man, and Vegas has the odds like that. It's pretty much a guarantee that Gobert, has it down packed. So I mean, it's Vegas is Vegas. Vegas knows all, and I'm surprised that it's that was that much of a difference. But again, it's hard, man. You're trying to get the money, and that's all it is.
Yeah, I know Spurs fans leading up to the announcement were just livid. Like they saw it coming, the announcement, and Victor's name was not going to be announced. So they go to how? But speaking of Spurs and the Defensive Player of the Year award, you have some interesting stats about that, don't you?
Yeah, actually, I actually do, man, and that's some stats here. So I'm gonna give you three little quick bits here about San Antonio Spurs. There's 3 Defensive Player of the Years, or actually defensive, I say Player of the Year type things that are happening with the San Antonio Spurs. So yeah, everybody's mad about Wemby, and I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But do you know that there is only 2 Rookie of the Years in the NBA history that have won Defensive Player of the Year later in the season? Would you happen to know what those 2 guys? Who those 2 guys are?
I'm going to take the obvious guess. Is that David Robinson?
One of them's David. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one is
the other one.
Go ahead.
I'm going to take a crack at this. Alvin Robertson?
Oh, he was a guard, but no, not that guard. Actually, one Michael
Okay.
Jeffrey Jordan has actually been
Okay.
a defense player of the year later after winning rookie of the year. So to
Okay.
say Victor wins a defense player of the year, it's going to happen. I mean, you saw it after this season. What's crazy is that when David won his rookie of the year, it was in his third season in the league where he averaged an astonishing like 4.6 blocks. So that kind of shows you the type of year. Now, what's funny is
Yeah.
his rookie year and his second season, he was around 3.5 and 3.6 blocks.
Yeah.
So he's right around where Victor was. But so, Jeff, do you know the only player to win Defensive Player of the Year in his second season, which makes him the only player to do that earlier in his career?
Let me guess. Is it Kareem?
No, that would be former Spur Alvin Robertson.
Oh, I knew Alvin had to be something quirky like that.
Alvin Robertson won his first Defense Player of the Year in his second year in the league and is actually the only player to do that and the fastest player to do it in his career. So Victor could get it next year, tying former Spur Alvin Robertson. Last fact here, man. Do you know who the only player to make an All-NBA team and All-Defensive team in his rookie season is?
Ask me that one more time.
The only player to make an All-NBA team and an All-Defensive team in his rookie season.
I'm going to say Timmy.
That would be Tim Duncan, and I think
Yes.
Victor actually joins that category this season.
I think
the
so
only
too.
thing that scares me is All NBA. Now, Embiid doesn't have enough games. Jokic's going to make it. Antetokounmpo will make it. If you're going by positions, I think that Victor maybe gets an All NBA third team, possibly.
Okay.
But again, I don't know if it happens. I mean, the All NBA part, he's going to get
that would still, tick me off if he gets third team.
Why would that be upsetting, though?
It should be first team.
Well, no, I'm talking All NBA, not defensive.
Oh, All NBA.
All
NBA. All NBA. Then I think I have his ceiling at second team.
He could squeak in second, but I think he goes
squeaks into
third. I think if he gets in, he's a third teamer. I really do think that happens.
Okay, so he didn't get DPOI, but the consolation prizes are still not bad. He will make an All NBA team, whether it be first, second, or third, as Rudy you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna make the All Defensive first team, right? He has to.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's the biggest snub. He's got to make the All NBA first team.
Can you imagine if the NBA announces it and he's not on that first team, defensive team?
That's comical.
That's rioting right there.
Yeah, I don't normally talk about rioting or anything like that.
Yeah, don't riot, San Antonio Spurs fans. I'm just just exaggerating.
No. I'm saying I don't normally talk like that because I'm kind of like a it is what it is type guy. But that would really upset me if he didn't make an all defensive team. First team at that. I mean, he deserves first team at that. So
he does. Again, it's a shame that Victor didn't win it. The numbers show that he earned it. He deserves it. There's no doubt he should have won it. But ultimately, it looks like it came down to team record, defensive impact on winning, as far as in the win-loss column. But again, when I repeat it to myself as I did right now, it still doesn't make sense because it's a defensive player of the year, it's not a defensive player of the year who impacted the team's winning immediately. And it's just about the individual. That's it. Not about Vassell, not about Sohan, not about KJ, not about Trey Jones. It's Wemby. And that's it. Do you think now that this has happened, the NBA may change its tune moving forward, saying like, look, they maybe send a memo to the voters like, guys, stop looking at the record for these individual awards.
They need to. If they haven't done it by now, they need to. The thing is that I think record plays a major part, but where I feel record plays a huge part is in the MVP voting and in some instances the All NBA voting. That's where I really think now all defensive, all that is totally different. Now, the MVP voting, yes, you've got to check off that box. You've got to be one of the top teams in the league. I know, if I'm not mistaken, Russell Westbrook won the MVP, and he didn't have a winning squad, or it was a win. It was
his triple-double year, right?
Yeah. So there are some cases where, okay, I totally get that. If you have a historical type season, I get that. But that box has to be checked on the MVP award. Now, all NBA squad, I get that. But again, if you have a historic season, like Victor had a historic rookie season, that needs to play part. I've even had conversations where the all NBA third team is nothing but guards and maybe one small forward. So I don't think, I mean, I've even heard guys like Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Halliburton making all NBA third team. Victor had a way better season stat wise than both of those guys. So it's going to be fun to see what the all NBA team does.
And everybody, just put it in perspective, he did all that in his rookie season.
Yeah.
So imagine he's going to be seasoned next year, going to second year. Mm-hmm. He's crossing fingers, going to have a better cast of teammates as far as, making impact, just alleviating the load on him and getting some wins.
Mm-hmm.
If the wins come, which they will come, and the team roster-wise gets better, these awards are going to rack up. I had a chance to talk to Victor during the season. I think it was right after he won the March Rookie of the Month award, and I asked him about that. And he told me, I understand these awards will come. But he prefaced it by saying, as the team gets better. Mm-hmm. So I think he recognizes that, yes, the awards will come, but the team win losses that's got to get better. So, it's a shame he didn't get it, but hey, as Rudy would say, it is what it is. And got to move on. Go ahead.
I think fans are more upset than the actual players. Victor, if he doesn't get it and he doesn't get any awards or accolades, I think he's fine with Rookie of the Year for this year. I mean, it's a stepping stone for his career, and I think fans are more upset and more rioting and all that for Victor. And I get it's support. You support your team, you support your players, but I mean, it's going to come in time, and even he knows it.
Yeah, he knows. Look, everybody relax. He's going to get a DPOI soon, maybe even next year. I would not be surprised. Nobody should be surprised if he gets it next year.
Yeah.
And I think that's coming in. Dare I say MVP conversation early too?
Not yet.
No, we're not there yet. Not there. Okay, I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it now, everybody. Rudy's putting me back in check. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Tell us what's going on with Sweep.
Yeah, so with Sweep, we're going to be coming to you all new now. We've got our own YouTube channel. My producer, Shemaya, is getting a lot of stuff ready. We've kind of changed it up. We've got some surprises for a lot of people. You're going to see a lot more one-offs. You're going to see a lot more storytelling. You're going to see a lot more interviews. At the end of June, we've lined up a couple of people that are pretty interesting. So we're taking it to a whole new level, trying to bring something different to the streaming world and the podcast world. So we're going to hopefully use this as a stepping stone to launch something big for everybody. So just stay tuned on our YouTube channel.
There you go. What more do you need? You got to go follow Rudy on X at Sweep the League. By the way, I mean, I bet you were so shocked the other day when they announced Rookie of the Year, Wembanyama, right? I mean, I bet you were like, what? No way. For real?
Well, I was shocked because I was told that I had a chance to win Rookie.
I knew it.
And
I knew it.
That's the biggest thing in my household. My wife's a little upset still that I didn't win.
Your award shelf is empty now because you don't have that Rookie of the Year award.
I basically cleaned that area behind me to show off the Rookie of the Year. So I need to text Victor and see if I can borrow it just for a snapshot.
Rookie of the Year awards. How about that?
That would be
your vacation. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, share that with me. Can you imagine? Again, he is Rudy Campos. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Hey, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. Are you upset? Richard didn't get it? The DPOI, let us know. You let me know by going to the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, subscribing immediately. All the shows are there, archive. Go check it out. We'll be back tomorrow talking more silver and black as the offseason, I should say, continues. The lottery is right around the corner. We'll be seeing where the Spurs land. That's going to be a fun day for Spurs fans. They're going to be glued to the TV. Can you imagine, Rudy, the 10%, they win the number one pick again? Yeah, that'd be just wow.
I think, more than anything, if they get the number one pick, just be excited they got the pick. But again, don't be excited for the rookie class. So.
Yeah. By the way, did you see that report? I don't remember where it came from, so my apologies for the credit. But it wasn't from me or from Rudy. There was another report out there where GM pretty much blasted this draft class, saying, "Yeah, it ain't worth it." Like I think he was pointing like he or she or whoever was that NBA exec was saying like, I wouldn't even want to go to the like it's that bad. But again, well, hey, look, the Spurs are in the mix. You never know. You never know. We'll see what the Spurs do. We'll be talking about that and much more on Locked On Spurs. So we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every day. Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, as mentioned, Spotify, iTunes, the list goes on. Check us out. Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel, only on YouTube. Go subscribe to that too. It's brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. All the teams are there from MLB, NHL, NFL, NBA. Go subscribe to Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.